Amid ongoing turmoil in Afghanistan, the Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is meeting his Russian counterpart Nikolai Patrushev in the national capital today. This comes after the Indian envoy to Russia has said that India and Russia have a common position and a common approach when it comes to Afghanistan. India and Russia held consultations in New Delhi, this as a direct outcome of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin's talks on 24th of August. Government sources say issues relating to China, Pakistan and Afghanistan will be a focus at the meeting between the two NSAs. The ambassador, Venkatesh Verma, speaking to Russian media, explained that the situation poses a threat to the interests of both India and Russia due to the possibility of rising terrorist groups, increased drug trafficking and organized crime. Now, the situation in Afghanistan is considered a security challenge for both India and Russia. While India fears that Afghanistan could become a safe haven for Pakistan-based terror groups, Russia fears that any spillover of the crisis can impact its allies in Central Asia. India believes Moscow can play a key role in ensuring Afghanistan isn't used by such groups to target other countries in the region. Moscow, on its part, has said that it wants a permanent bilateral mechanism with India focused on the terror and drug threat from Afghanistan. These talks were held a day before the BRICS virtual summit, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to underline concerns related to Afghanistan. The Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is meeting his Russian counterpart Nikolai Patrushev in the national capital today. This comes after the Indian envoy to Russia said that India and Russia have a common position and a common approach when it comes to Afghanistan. India and Russia held consultations in New Delhi today. Now, this is a direct outcome of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin's talks on 24th of August. Government sources have even said that issues relating to China, Pakistan and Afghanistan will be in focus at the meeting between the two NSAs. Ambassador Venkatesh Verma, speaking to Russian media, explained that the situation poses a threat to interests of both India and Russia. And now for more on this, we are being joined by Principal Diplomatic Correspondent Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. Can you just take us through some of the key top things on the agenda for this meet?
Well, this is a very crucial meeting which is taking place, and it's a direct outcome of the conversations between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, in which they agreed to have a permanent channel of communication and consultation when it comes to Afghanistan. And both India and Russia are impacted by the situation in Afghanistan. That is why this meeting is crucial in that context. But the issues that will be talked about, first, of course, is about the role of regional countries. Secondly, about the terror groups who might find safe haven. And of course, it is expected that India will raise the issue of Pakistan-based international terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed trying to find space in Afghanistan under the Taliban leadership. But also both countries will be taking note of the assurances Taliban has been giving when it comes to an inclusive government, which of course is and has been seen missing.
Right, Siddhant, I was just going to come to that. In fact, India believes Moscow can play a key role in ensuring Afghanistan isn't used by groups to target other countries in the region. How do you think, what sort of a role do you think Moscow can play here?
Well, Russia has an important role in terms of Afghanistan. We know that the Central Asian countries, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, these are three Central Asian countries who have close relationship with Russia, but primarily because of they having a strong economic relationship and security relationship and a traditional relationship because of the Soviet Russia influence. But we know that situation in Afghanistan can destabilize these Central Asian countries, and that is something that Russia is worried about, and that is why it is having conversations with its partners and its allies. One thing which is interesting to be noted is that yesterday when the Indian envoy spoke to the Russian media, he specifically mentioned about two things: the Doha talks and the Troika Plus talks, saying that they did not came up with the results which were expected from them, given in the backdrop of what has happened in Afghanistan. Remember, Troika Plus was Russia, US, China plus Pakistan, and we have seen reports how India was kept out. So now, of course, the emphasis is how both Moscow and New Delhi can work in coordination when it comes to situation in Afghanistan, and of course. Make sure that not only when it comes to evacuation there can be a coordination, but also on issues such as counter-terror.
Right, Siddhant. Also, like I mentioned earlier, these talks are being held a day before the BRICS virtual summit, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping are expected to underline the concerns related to Afghanistan. What can we expect going forward on that front now?
Well, arguably, Afghanistan will be the top focus during the BRICS virtual meeting. India is going to chair this meeting. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to chair this virtual meeting. And of course, there will be conversations about Afghanistan, how Afghanistan impacts regional stability. And it is interesting to know that this is first of the many summits that are going to take place later this month, because next week we'll see the SCO summit that will be taking place in a hybrid model. Tajikistan is the host of SCO this year and has in the past, in last 2 months, hosted the NSA meeting, the foreign ministers meeting, the defense ministers meeting. And during this SCO meeting, where the Indian Prime Minister is going to participate virtually, there will be also an SCO Afghanistan contact group meeting that is part of the wider SCO platform. And then we also know the UNGA high level week will start. The Indian Prime Minister will be going to US. He will be in US on 23rd, 24th and 25th, and it's on 25th that he's going to address the United Nations General Assembly. And undoubtedly, among the various issues, whether it's climate change, COVID, Afghanistan is likely to feature as well.
Right, Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us with all your inputs on that. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.